2019 has been a fruitful year for Fire Emblem. From an everlasting silence on the latest game to a constant uproar in news pertaining to its story, gameplay, and above all, the characters. With so much new info being revealed, I can't help but notice and feel ecstatic that big brain systems are actively finding ways to innovate the series, building off of pre-existing ideas to create an experience that not only stays true to the core Fire Emblem mantra, but introduces a fresh take to help the series reach even newer heights. I mean, look no further than what was revealed at Nintendo's E3 Direct. Usually when the developers are trying to tell two stories that both share the same universe yet inhabit two different periods in time, it's done in a way in which the overarching plot is separated into multiple different games rather than in one singular piece. However, taking notes from Genealogy of the Holy War, one of the central plot points present throughout Three Houses is a foreboding time skip. By having two different time periods to work with, it creates a lot of opportunities to expand on both the characters and how they develop throughout the course of our grand adventure. One thing I can always appreciate in a story involving politics and war is a beautifully crafted world, full of engaging detail and lore to dissect. It's a perfect stage for the conflict to occur, and one of the many elements that help to shape the world of Fodlan are the crests. Time and time again, we're reminded that the crests are to blame, but really, the presence of a greater power will always spark an insatiable drive in those who seek it, making it the perfect fuel for conflict among neighboring nations. These are birthrights given to those who descend from powerful figures, indications ranging from major to minor, determining the holder's aptitude for greatness. But along with it comes the ability to wield powerful weapons known as the hero's relics. If any of this sounds familiar, it's pretty similar to the Holy Blood system. Here we have a story about several noble houses, each playing their own game rather than a couple of powerful players overshadowing everyone else. How several minor characters came to possess the crests serves as an opportunity to provide some much needed development to characters that wouldn't normally be as fleshed out as the main trinity. If anything, the presence of the crest helped to increase the stakes, incentivizing players to really try and prevent these crest holders from falling in battle, providing more reasons to care about Fodlan and all of its characters. I mean, one of the best aspects of video games is how you're able to immerse yourself in some of these beautifully crafted worlds. Yet, the whole concept of exploration was never really a primary focus of Fire Emblem. I mean, sure, the stories usually take you on journeys to foreign kingdoms and whatnot, but only a handful of these games actually allowed you to physically explore these areas in the vein of a dungeon crawler. Considering Fire Emblem will always be first and foremost a strategy game, I can't imagine exploration ever being emphasized as heavily as it is in other more story-driven role-playing games. After all, most of the dialogue and secrets are confined to the maps of each chapter, and that's really all you need to have an adequate understanding of whatever is going on. Three Houses, however, appears to be much different from other Fire Emblem games, at least in terms of pacing. The game uses a calendar system to gauge the progression of the story, with each month having 30 days and each day allowing for different events to occur. At the end of each month lies an important task, and once completed, the story will finally progress. With this system in mind, it's likely that aside from the main story portions that occur throughout each chapter, most of the dialogue-heavy moments could be left for outside of the battles. And what better place to contain those interactions than the Gareg Mach Monastery? The Officers' Academy serves as our home base, similar to that castle feature in Fates, but what's interesting is that you're actually able to freely explore this gorgeous three-dimensional plane, allowing you to gauge the day-to-day lives of our prospective students. There's a lot of potential for day-to-day events to take place in the Academy, giving players more opportunities to familiarize themselves with the characters of each house. Perhaps special events could take place on certain days, ones in which you gain hidden conversations and even some additional rewards. Whether it's a new weapon, skill, or simply a piece of lore, it encourages players to explore each area of the Academy to actively seek out all of these hidden gems. In the event that you miss out on a secret exchange, you can always try again in a different playthrough, opting for new choices along the way. It's through your own decision making that your experience is different each subsequent playthrough, and for a game that already has replayability through branching storylines, it helps to further cement this game as one that remains memorable in the years to come. But regardless of how things turn out, the recent gameplay footage has shown just how vibrant the Academy can be. There's always an opportunity to strengthen your allies, complete quests, and even to make the biggest catch, with all of this being taken even further through the addition of full voice acting. Shadows of Valentia has shown us the potential of fully voiced dialogue in Fire Emblem, with it being credited for the game's superb presentation. You've got moments that really shine when given that extra layer, and it helps to amp up those dramatic scenes to achieve a level of emotional release even greater than intended. It's through the work of brilliant voice direction that characters like Mei and Berkut remain fan favorites even to this day. If anything, voice acting serves as a way to further your attachment towards these characters, and in a game driven by character interactions, its presence throughout the entirety of the game is nothing short of beneficial. But for many fans of the series, gameplay is one of, if not the most important aspect of Fire Emblem. After all, there's nothing quite like the feeling of leading an army into battle, carefully planning out all of your moves, considering all the possibilities, and coming out on top knowing it was your own decision making that led your team up to this point. Things like stories, characters, art direction, music, and lore are all elements that make up some of the greatest games in the series, but tying all of that together is the iconic gameplay systems that Fire Emblem is most known for. And for a series that's constantly evolving with each entry, it's paramount for Three Houses to build upon all of those traditional gameplay elements to create something that players, both old and new, will find challenging and enjoyable. With that being said, let's address the elephant in the room, the disappearance of one of the most iconic mechanics in Fire Emblem, the weapon triangle. Since its first appearance in Genealogy of the Holy War, the weapon triangle has remained a staple mechanic in almost every preceding game. Now, it's no surprise that the removal of said mechanic would warrant some concerns among fans. However, let's not pretend that the weapon triangle is the only way to create strategic gameplay. There are still a large variety of weapons, all with their own varying uses, that can make up for the lack of a rock-paper-scissors dynamic. Not to mention the multitude of unique skills available to each character, each providing some much needed situational effects, allowing for some flexible character customization in the process. With the return of warp tiles and combat arts comes the advent of Milla's Turnwheel, or in this case Divine Pulse. This effectively allows you to rewind a few turns in each battle, so if you ever make a fatal lapse in judgment, there are times where you can rely on this mechanic to save yourself from an impending doom. Now, it's great that intelligent systems are breathing new life into some of these older gameplay elements, but what's most interesting is when these mechanics are rebuilt into brand new ideas. Authority is a stat that really hasn't been experimented with since Radiant Dawn. However, now it's repurposed as a way to gauge the level of your battalion, a new way of strengthening your character in Three Houses. With high authority comes access to much stronger battalions, giving certain characters the potential to deal much more devastating gambits. We've come a long way with this game, from sheer excitement with the reveal of a new home console experience to a hint of skepticism with the unprecedented direction of the game. As more and more info kept popping up, the public's cognition seems to have come full circle, and many people, including myself, are hyped to experience this brand new world and all it has to offer. Anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know which house you'll be starting with down in the comments below. I'm hoping Three Houses is a game that will open the gates for even more newer fans in the years to come. After all, Fire Emblem is a wonderful series, and Three Houses will make an accessible starting point for anyone who missed out on the previous generations. I'm hoping to make even more Three Houses content down the line, specifically an in-depth review, so if you enjoy listening to me ramble on about video games, make sure to subscribe to keep up with the latest bamboozle. I'll see you all next time, and have yourselves a wonderful day.